Greetings everyone on the PvZ Madness channel, and today I have for you a review of one of the two plants from the last update. This is the first review on the channel, so if you like it, then at the weekend I'll do a review on the second plant. Today I'm going to review Scaredy-shroom. Well, I'm not going to drag it out, let's get down to business. Meet the old new mushroom. Why an old new mushroom? Because a lot of people know that such plant was in the first part of PvZ. It was supposed to appear in the second part from the very beginning, but something went wrong and he reunited with his brothers only now. Originally, I planned to release this video a month earlier and my friends even made a mod for me that unlocked this plant. True, I ended up having to wait for the official release of the plant because it has changed many of its characteristics. But that's all unimportant, let's get to the mushroom itself. In its characteristics, Scaredy-shroom is a kind of pea shooter for cloudy weather. It deals the same amount of damage, but costs 4 times less, only 25 suns, so at the start of levels it will be much more profitable than pea shooter for the same effectiveness. What's the catch? The catch is that this mushroom is not the bravest character. As soon as zombies come within 1 cell of him, he immediately hides under the ground. It doesn't matter if the enemy is in front, behind, or even to the side, he will hide in any case. That's why it's reasonable to use it only at the beginning of levels, when zombies are far away and in small numbers. I haven't said anything about another feature of this plant. When Shroom hides, it gets a small boost in toughness, 30% from level 1 to 5 and 50% from level 5 to 10, but there is really nothing to be happy about. Initial amount of health of the mushroom is only 200 HP, and in the game for most non-defensive plants 300. That is, he was originally reduced health, and then the developers are such a generous hand gave a little at the time when he hides. Thank you a lot. In the end, that's how it turns out, it has no super strength. This can be clearly seen if you attack Scaredy-shroom at the same time in the company of plants with 300 HP. Maybe it lasts a fraction of a second longer, but that's such a small amount of time that you won't notice a difference during the game. In general, that's all you need to know about the basic mechanics of this plant. Yes, it's very simple, but it has a rather unusual ult. As you noticed, by giving feed to just one plant, the fellow flankers repeat it. This is somewhat similar to the Puff Shroom's ult, but the difference is that in the case of the Little Shroom, all of its fellows ult, while with Scaredy-shroom only the fellows in the 3x3 cell area from feeding one. If I give feed to a corner plant, only the plants in its neighboring cells repeat after it. It's not difficult to calculate that the maximum number of shrooms that are ulting at the same time is 9. Now let's take a closer look at the characteristics of Scaredy-shroom's ult. Now you see a pre-release plant that I got with the help of a mod. On all sorts of resources stated that the mushroom fires 35 spores during a super attack. Each of them deals 30 HP damage, a total of 1050 units of damage. Gargantua has 3600 HP, so Shroom should destroy it with 4 boosts. But he's still alive, and I had to use the 5th ult, and only after that Gug died. There is a data mismatch on the face of it, and that's why I waited patiently for the official release of the plant for my review. Now we are looking at the Scaredy-shroom that's in game right now. Now if I ult him 4 times, that's absolutely enough to deal lethal damage to the giant. That is, I confirm that he attacks exactly 35 spores of 30 damage each. So, for the future I say right now that I'll shoot reviews only on plants that got the official release. Developers often improve the characteristics, and I don't see the point in the pursuit of hype to make early reviews with the wrong characteristics. Another prime example of a change when a plant was released is the fact that Shroom was removed repulsive ability against Gargantua. Know that in the original version he was quite good at pushing back the Gug with spores from the ult, but in the current conditions it doesn't work on the Gug anymore. Repulsion only works in the case of smaller zombies. In addition, the feeding effect originally had an even more powerful throwback if Gug approached a mushroom that was already hidden. The throwing distance depended on the levels. At the top is the mushroom level 1, in the center 5th, and 10th in the bottom. As you can see, the lowest Gug flew away very far. Now it has been fixed and the bounce no longer works on large zombies. The smaller ones still fly away and the distance increases with the level of the Scaredy-shroom. Robots, veteran bully and probably some other large enemies are not rejected, as well as Gug. That said, we are not done with Scaredy-shroom's ult. It has a very interesting ability. It can be demonstrated even on the old version of the plant. It will not affect the visibility. Note that the Gugs on the flanks were already dead after the second super attack, and the central one still needs a few more ults. That is, for some reason the flanks are more powerful, but that's not all. I found something else and it makes Shroom's super attack even more interesting. The flank shroom's attack power increases with the number of his mates around. For example, I purposely left one plant on each side and now there are 3 in the center. Ult, and this time 2 gags on the edge died from one ult of Scared Shroom. The scent is understandable, there were 3 shrooms, but the edges are beyond my knowledge. But the fact is that my theory about boosting the ult due to the number of mushrooms turned out to be right, and it's just a treasure trove for pumping. I never thought I would want to pump such a plant as Scared Shroom. Since the topic of pumping came up, I'll tell you about the growth of characteristics with increasing level of this plant. They grow much faster than its peak counterpart, but it's understandable because P-Shooter has the maximum level 20 and Scare Shroom 10. So at level 10, Shroom's characteristics are better than P-Shooter. In general, if you take into account the ult and everything else, Shroom in my opinion should finally displace the desire to use P-Shooter, it's just better. About the increase the throwing range of Scared Shroom with high levels are said. In fact, there is nothing more to say about levels. The standard increase in damage and the amount of health in both states, standing and hiding. Let me say a little about the effects of the mint. It simply doubles the damage from the spores. If without mint it deals 20 damage, then with the enhancement of the mint takes 40 HP. The same goes for the ult, it just doubles, but the amount of spores stay the same, so it's simple enough. I almost forgot, when Mint is on the lawn, Scared Shroom gains courage and doesn't hide from zombies, even if they came close to him. As soon as the Mint disappears, the mushroom there disappears along with him. Basically, this is all that can be said about the mechanics of Shroom. Now by tradition, let's take a look at this plant in some specific situations. Of course, since the plant belongs to the Dark Ages location, let's see if Jester can catch his spores. It turns out that he can't, and it's very strange because the spores of the small puff shroom are repelled by Jester, but the much larger projectiles of Scared Shroom are not. Still, that was only the first version, now look at the official version. Another reason to wait exactly for the official release. The actual Scared Shroom cannot kill the Jester without the help of other plants. Jester catches his spores easily. The Digger also takes no damage from this plant's projectiles. We are transported to the beach. The game has already accumulated quite a few plants that can hide on the ground in case of danger. For example, the cactus, the shadow pea and now the Scared Shroom. All of them can normally be hooked by fishermen. However, let's see what happens in the case of a danger when the plants hide. I drop this tree off again and we see that Cactus and Pea-Shooter are now unable to become the fisherman's catch, and Shroom is still an easy target for spinning. What about landing on a lily pad? Cactus can't boast this property, you can land it on a green circle without dancing with the tambourine, but Shadow Pea-Shooter is easy. As it turns out, so is a Shroom. Well, that's good to know. I wondered if the parrot could pick up a hidden Scared Shroom with his claws, like a fisherman with a hook. It turned out to be no problem at all for the parrot bird. Well, and the reverse situation. You can pull a shroom and carry it away, but push a Mecha Footballer? Let's find out. The robot approached to it and pushed it away without any problems. Scared Shroom even cheered up and came out of hiding for a couple of seconds, though then had to hide again. In general, it's possible to move it in all ways. This concludes my review of this plant. I think it was not in vain I waited for its release, because clearly demonstrated how many changes made to it before the release of updates. That's why I will not make a review on Sanju Tangler, which is already possible to use with mode, but so far it's not officially available in the game. We will wait for the next update. And getting back to Scared Shroom, I think I'll give it 4 out of 10. It's weak, but I'll give it a higher score than I wanted due to his ult. Again though, it all depends on the purpose of using this character. At the beginning of the level he's useful, then not so much, and in the arena conditions he's even worse than Pea-Shooter. In short, everything is relative. This concludes the review of the first plant from the update. I hope you liked it, and maybe even for someone it will be useful. And I would like you not to scold me too much for the fact that the reviews came out only now, although I had the opportunity even a month ago. Yet in the video I have already shown that I did it for a reason, and for the sake of relevance of information and more accurate data. Give me a like if the review was good, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next review very soon.